Hello and welcome to the 2010 Sharp I channel. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your support. If you haven't subscribed, just click the subscribe button and help us reach 20,000 subscribers. We are also on website www.2010sharpi.com for breaking news, and also we also have our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and also TikTok as 2010 Sharp I. If you haven't followed us, just click that follow button and help us grow. Yeah, we really appreciate you. Today, I'm very excited. I'm with my friends, you know them. They are supporters, not only supporters, but they also know how to analyze football. And also, we have got two special guests, PSL journalists who are going, to answer questions, from supporters amongst us. And then I really look forward to this. Yeah, the journalists are Mahlatse Mphahlele and also Iniesta Maupye. And yeah, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. And also thank you very much to Neo, Matume, and Thabo for making sure that, when I ask you to come over, and then you come and support us. So yeah, let's go for it. Jens, I'd like you to introduce yourself to our viewers at home. I'll start with Neo. Can you please introduce yourself to our viewers at home?
What about Petsu? Go by name of Neo Topos Poskaneo. Kaizer Chiefs faithful at heart. Proud Kaizer Chiefs supporter after Saturday's game, as much as the result says otherwise. But nonetheless, I'm happy to be here with, again, our esteemed panelists that I'm happy to learn their insights in this game.
Thank you so much, Neo. Iniesta, can you please introduce yourself to our viewers at home?
Sure, my brothers. My name is Iniesta Maupye. Yeah, Iniesta. I'm a football journalist and also soy fan.
So of your age. I don't know.
He's a grandchild of the soy, is this one.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Iniesta. Matume, can you please come in?
Good evening to you, my brother, and good evening to the panelists and to the subscriber. I'm Matume Peja from Mahlatse City branch, Mamelodi Sundowns fan, original from Matox. Thank you.
Thank you, Matume. Will you please introduce yourself, Mahlatse?
Okay, my name is Mahlatse Mphahlele. I'm a sports journalist with Times Live. It's nice to be here. I hope you guys take it easy with me. Don't be too harsh.
No, thank you so much, Mahlatse, and it's an honor to have you in our channel today, and to the gents, Mr. Mahlatse, we know him as Mahlatse Mphahlele. He's one of the top journalists that we have, in the PSL, and also Iniesta Maupye, one of the journalists that we have. You are welcome to also ask questions if you want to ask them any questions. Otherwise, we are here to analyze and to build up, to the much anticipated Soweto derby. As you know, we see this is so-called the second leg of this big encounter. Tibos, please introduce yourself to our viewers at home.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Thabo Soroka from Rodeport. Please call Wilfred on. I'm just a soccer-loving person. Orlando Pirates fan, but I love soccer, love watching soccer. I love talking soccer and listening to other people. I feel like, today you are blessed. You've got football royalty in the Mahlatse and Mr. Iniesta. I was asking myself, where do I know Mr. Mahlatse from? But now it comes to him. I thought I knew him from a soapy. Yeah, almost starts. So I feel so honored to be in the presence of all of you guys, Matume, Raneo, Iniesta, and our honorable guest, in fact, our honorable host, Mapalo. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
must say, before Mapalo continues, he has been chasing me for a while. We just couldn't align, but
Yeah.
I said, if I don't come tonight, he's gonna say this guy doesn't want to come onto my show. So I've
True.
dropped everything. I'm here.
Thank you so much.
But it's my brother. Yeah, we come a long way.
Thank you so much. I'd like to ask maybe each of us to ask Mahlatse any question that we want. If you don't have, it's okay. But Mahlatse, I'd like to check with you. I've in the past 10 years, we have seen Kaizer Chiefs changing a lot of coaches, something that we have never witnessed previously, and also they are not only changing the coaches, but then they don't have a stable captain. Sometimes it's Mark, sometimes it's Miguel. It was Kuna back then, and all that and all that. Do you think not having a stable coach and not having a stable captain has an impact in the team in terms of being consistent, winning, and also having a stable leadership?
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, those things have led to the instability that has been there. And when you are not stable, in a results-driven environment, if you are not stable, then you are not going to produce much. I think over the last few years, the best thing that Chiefs have done was getting to a final of a Champions League. It was in 2021 or something like that under Coach Kevin Hunt. Also, Coach Kevin Hunt was, he was there, but I think he didn't even coach in the final. There's been a high turnover of coaches. It's never good for a big club. But also, we only also just sort of focus on the players. I mean, on the coaches, but if you really, really zoom in closely at Kaizer Chiefs over the last while, the very best of the best players they've signed, is a handful. I can think of Kamabilat, Serino, Lilepo, maybe going backwards a little bit. They have not been able to sign the best of the best players who used to go to Kaizer Chiefs. That also on its own is a worry, because these days players want to go to big players, want to go to a club where they know that they'll play Champions League, because Champions League is quite a big deal for players and for clubs.
Yeah.
I hear Chiefs fans saying they must sign this guy from Pyramids. That guy from Pyramids will never sign for Chiefs if Chiefs are not going to play for the Champions League. Even if you are going to pay $1 million a month, it's not going to come. That guy wants to play Champions League because Champions League is the only league that can take him to Europe if he wants to go to Europe.
Yeah.
So that's what you are grappling with. I mentioned the issue of the scouting earlier on. Modern football is all about the scouting now. You need to look for players. They've got that guy from Sundowns, yes, but I don't know what type of support he has. I'm quite happy that the DDC team has won the MDC, has won DDC. But also, I'm interested to see how many of those players are going to be given opportunities in the first team next season. And I can tell you here now, nothing much is going to happen there. Because in South Africa also, we have this thing of, except with the exception of Pirates, who have shown very, very good believe in the young players. I mean, I've been watching Fabian McCarthy's son now for a good 2 seasons. I think he's better than Kunika at that point. If I were a Chiefs fan, I would rather struggle with McCarthy than with a Kunika or somebody else, because most of the senior players that were there, or even Msimenga for that matter, it's the same as at Sundowns. I mean, I would rather lose matches with Koza than lose matches with the Suarez guy, who I just don't think that is a player of enough quality for the money he has cost and what he's doing there is just chalk and cheese. So There's been too many coaches. There's not been enough investment of players into the team, and that has really led to these sort of problems that teams are having now. Obviously, Chelsea is a big club, but unfortunately, I compare them with Liverpool over the last 15 years before they started winning. Liverpool was just this big club that really didn't matter much in the bigger scheme of things. And that's where Chiefs are now, really. Winning this net bank will be very, very big for them. It will be really big for them. And I really hope for their sake that they get right. But you can't have this turnover of coaches if you really want to. Look at Liverpool now. They've got this Klopp guy and he turned things around. Good coach. There was a little bit of investment in terms of players coming through. And, the rest is history. Sundowns with Coach Pizzo. At some stage, they were about to fire Coach Pizzo. But that little belief in the guy led them to what has happened. Coach Ulani had serious problems with this Fleming Bear guy. That's why he left. And I think maybe the club made a mistake there by not backing him, by backing technical director. So if you want a coach to succeed, you need to back him. And unfortunately, that is not what has happened. And they're suffering. But I still maintain you need to go a little bit big on the continent and find players there. The players are there in West Africa. I was at AFCON. I was speaking to the performance analyst of that coach, Claude Leroy. When we were watching Bafana Bafana against Nigeria, and he was just telling me we were talking about Debza and who's this Bafana midfielder who's playing in Portugal, the tall guy? His name escapes me now. The defensive midfielder for Bafana. Who played the AFCON?
Yeah.
Stephalos
Yeah.
And he was saying to me that, though Debza had a good tournament, or is having a good tournament, he doesn't quite fit the profile of what the European teams are looking for. They're looking for big boys. You need to be able to play a little bit, but must be imposing and all that kind of thing. And Debza is still here, and Mphahlele is playing in Europe. So you need the big boys from West Africa to be able to help you. And they are not expensive. You can find a guy there for 500,000 US and then bring them here. If you are lucky, you can take them to Europe and get 10 times that money. So scouting on the continent is very, very important.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mahlatse. Lastly, from myself, before I give the chance, Iniesta, Mahlatse mentioned Aiden McCarthy as one of our current youth best defenders that we have at Kaizer Chiefs. Right now, Kaizer Chiefs is struggling to qualify for top 8. They are now going to their first, Nedbank Cup final in many years, and against one of the top teams in South Africa. Kaizer Chiefs has released Aiden McCarthy. They've also released Mfundo Vilakazi. I'm not sure who else. Do you think Coach Nabi has an impact in terms of denying them to go, to play for the national team instead of maybe saying, okay, yes, you can go? Because of right now, I believe they need those boys the most right now, since they are looking to qualify for top 8 and also to win the cup. Was it the right decision for them to release the boys?
Yeah, definitely. I believe Coach Nazaruddin Nabi did a big mistake by releasing those two boys, especially Mfundo Vilakazi, because he has been playing with the team. Remember the first 3 games of Betway Premiership where they played against Marumo Gallants and also the likes of our Golden Arrows. I think the boy did very well. Even some of the big games he played for Kaizer Chiefs. I remember I was there at Polokwane. They played against Chiefs Galaxy. He came as a sub. And obviously, the fan favorite. Whenever the boys in the field, I think the other players they'll have a confidence. So I believe they did a big mistake going to Aiden McCarthy. The last 5 games I watched him live. I was attending most of the DDC game. I think the boy, the future leader of Kaizer Chiefs, playing a good football. Definitely, if you know Fabian McCarthy, that's the kind of player he is. He's playing the same football of his father. So I think he'll do very well. Obviously, I think it was not a big loss for Chiefs releasing agent to cap squad. I know he has been in the late 20-man squad lately, but I don't think he was gonna help Chiefs, especially against the last game against Orlando Pirates. Obviously, yes, the likes of our PLB, they got a chance at Orlando Pirates. But I believe let's wait for the next season and the boy will get his chance. Agent Maketa, I think he's one of the future leaders to Kaizer Chiefs, one of the best players, comfortable on the ball. Obviously, in the areas is very good. So I think he'll do a lot. I think he's one of the best defender of the season for Kaizer Chiefs BBC team. I think he did very well. But releasing Fundo to under 20 squad, I know we need the boy in the squad. We are playing up con. I believe coach. That guy definitely need the boy in the squad. And you can see the boy sometimes he's not even playing. He played the first game, he did very well. The second game, he came as a sub. So I believe Chiefs will have kept the boy to play, especially the last game. We saw Pirates played more than 7 youngsters. So I think the boy was supposed to be there playing for Kaizer Chiefs in the Soweto Derby.
Beautiful. But Mahlatse, your take on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with Iniesta. I think Aiden has not been really. He's been a bit part. I mean, at the most, he sits on the bench and doesn't even get a chance to play. So it's good that he's gone to the national team. I was a bit surprised with Vilakazi,
Mfundo.
with Mfundo, even though even himself, not really quite been given an extended run in the team to show what he can do. He's one of those players that you can say, if you just cut out a little bit of the stuff that he likes to do, he can be a very, very dangerous footballer.
Yeah.
I hope he comes back different there, because I've been watching this tournament. There's no time for dancing there. Those young boys are playing, are playing quite good constructive football. I'm not really being negative on the boy, but I personally, I don't prefer players who play football like that. I think you know, if you stand on top of the ball and do all those kinds of things, and teammates get close spaces and you can't really hurt people, I just don't see the point for doing it, unless it's the last 5 minutes you are leading 5-0, then maybe I can forgive you, you know. But generally, that's why I've always, for the very long time, I mean, I like Patrick Maswanganye, but I disagree with him sometimes with the stuff that he does. They will be going that way and he'll be going that way with the ball, you know, and then what, you know. So he's a good footballer, but I think this is not during the Jomosono era, you know. Football is modern, football is played differently. With Maswanganye, Pirates are a transitional team, they are always fast and moving, and sometimes he delays them in a way. But there are times where he's quick and he can be very dangerous. He can hurt people. But sometimes he likes this thing of showboating and dancing, and which half the time is not good, because he gets caught in possession quite a lot. And there have been instances where parents have been punished because of those kinds of mistakes. He's not the only person who makes mistakes on the field, but I'm pointing out on him because he's the one who likes to do that quite a lot. But yeah, I mean, I was a little bit disappointed that Pirates and Safa couldn't find a way. Where I really felt that maybe TLB should have stayed in Egypt to play 1 or 2 of those matches and then come back. They could have found a way. I always like this thing that these young boys, TLB is missing out on his first major international tournament as a young player. And that may be a problem for him going forward, you know. And you know, now that he's increasingly becoming a key player for Pirates, I can tell you now, he's never going to play Kosafa, he's never going to play Chan, because Pirates are going to need him all the time. And this is one of the problems we have in our country, where these boys are going to go to Bafana Bafana and playing international football for the first time, and it's just not good. I would have loved to see him there at AFCON with his age mates, be tested at that level, because surely the test there was going to be a little bit different from what you get in the PSL. And you need these boys to be playing these qualifiers, to be playing these AFCON tournaments, junior tournaments, and so that they can get a little bit of a feel of what international football is all about. That's why it saddens me so much that Most of these young players, because they are key players for their teams, they can't even play Kosafa, so
Yeah.
which is really a shame, That's where they must start. That's where they must cut their teeth. They must play against Zambia. They must play against Zimbabwe and Malawi and all those kind of people, so that when they meet them again in a few years' time, they will have a reference point to say, "But I played this against this point," But it was not to be. So, yeah, I guess club versus country problem will always be there, especially with these junior tournaments which are played. If it's not FIFA weeks, it's always tricky. And I can tell you, if Sesan didn't get an injury, TLB will possibly be in AFCON as we speak now. But the injury to Sesan has given him an opportunity, and he's running with it, which is in a way, I would have really loved to see him at AFCON, but also he said Parrot is playing, so I guess it's a win-win for him.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Mahlatse. Gents, it's up to you. Before we go for the score predictions, anyone can ask Mahlatse and Iniesta any question. Madume, do you want to ask something?
Yes. Mahlatse, I want to ask your opinion towards player of the season.
Yeah, I'm going to be controversial on this one.
Yeah.
Actually, I was looking at the stats now. Firstly, I think there's not been in my view, there's not been a single player who has sort of blown the lights out consistently this season. I think most of the people can agree on that one. There hasn't been a single player who has been consistently performing from for the rest of the season, which makes it a little bit difficult. And in my view, in a case like that, unfortunately, we are going to lean a little bit more towards numbers. I know a lot of people don't like this thing of numbers in football, but they are here. Modern football is more about the numbers. For goalkeepers, for defenders, for midfielders, and for attackers, assists and goals and that kind of thing. As they say, numbers don't lie. It's not an easy one, as it was last season, maybe with Ronwen. Ronwen was quite a popular choice because of what he was doing, becoming more and more a key figure in the Sundowns team, starting attacks and playing out of the back and having a lot of clean sheets and that kind of thing. This one is a bit complex, but I'm going to be a little bit controversial. A lot of people will disagree with me, which is fine. I would say maybe in no particular order. My top three. I'll go for Ribeiro of Sundowns. I'll go for Cash at Pirates. Makaula. I think Makaula has been massive for Orlando Pirates. He's a player who doesn't usually get the plaudits that he deserves, or that should come to him. Most of the good stuff that comes out of that Pirates team is from him. Pirates are normally are not that team that is like Sundowns where they really play from the back that much. But when occasions present itself, he is the link between the defense and the attack. Also, he's supported by talent. Sometimes when talent play more as an 8, and then he's sitting. He's also he cleans up a lot for them. He helps them to create the balance between sometimes the defense and the midfield. And it's a role which good players grow into. It's not something that is easy to do. More like a Debza maybe. He plays that role very, very well. He's not as classy as Debza is, but he does the job very well. He's a very, very good defensive midfielder. Strong teams are built around that thing. It's part of the spine. It's the old-fashioned way where we say you have got to have a good goalkeeper, you have got to have a good central defense, good 6, maybe a 10, and a striker. That kind of thing. You know, so for me, he has impressed me. I think at the risk of being ridiculed by the fans, I think he has been the best player for Pirates. I know a lot of people will lean towards Rele. Rele, definitely an outstanding talent. But I felt that he's a guy who this season in particular only shown during the big matches. He's a big game player. You can see with those 2 goals against Sundowns now, scoring the win against Pirates. He's always there, but I always look for him and I can't find him when they play against the so-called small teams. And in football, as you know, you really need to be at your best against almost everyone. I've found him missing a little bit in the so-called small teams. But of course, I mean, he remains key, and he's a guy who also, it pains me that he's still in the country, because I think he deserves to play overseas so that they can continue to grow and improve. For players who play in his position, whether as a winger or as a 10 or whatever they call these things these days, your currency there is goals and assists, and he's really, really very low in terms of goals. And I think he's got 6 assists and 5 goals. After 22 or 23 matches, I just don't think that's good enough. It should be more. But also now, if you have a young guy like that carrying a big team like Paris, the weight can be a little bit heavy. But he's there, he has got to do it, you know. And I felt that players, senior players like Ababoto and them, they've really played that role of trying to help him to acclimatize. So, cash and even talent, and Dian Hoto also. If you look at that Pirates, China to a large extent, cash, talent, Dion Hoto, they've been good. But if you were to put a gun on my head to say who, in my view, has been the most influential player for Pirates, I would say Makaula. He's a little bit older now, but he has been useful for them. And then the other person who has impressed me, I'll go to Ikram Reynas. Going into a new team, I think he has done very well. There's been a lot of goals that he scored. Also, he has been quite useful when it comes to assisting for other teammates to play. It's very, very difficult to sort of fit into the standard system. And you know, when you look at the fact that you've got Ribeiro, you've got Peter Sharlin, and to a less extent maybe Tasrif Moses, Matthews, and that thing. He has fitted very well there. And also he doesn't play all the matches because sometimes the coach is rotating. But to have that high turnover of goals in a team where you're not guaranteed to start is quite impressive. Apart from those 3, I'll look at obviously Mufokeng is there, you know. And I'll look at Mahalwa at Skukune, he's been very good. I'll look at Chipezeze at Magezi, has been very good for them. I'll look at, I've been very, very impressed with Titus at Stellenbosch and the defender, Moloisani. So yeah, there have been some players who have caught my eye. Unfortunately, I don't have anyone from Chiefs.
Thanks.
I don't have anyone from Chiefs because the place is just a mess at the moment, you know. You know, but hopefully it will come back strong. But yeah, I think in no particular order, my top 3 really, I'll go for Cash, I'll go for Igram and Ribeiro. If you were to put a gun on my head and say who do I think will be the player of the season, I'll go for Ribeiro. I think there was a time during those first 6 months where he just played unbelievable football. He has gone off the boil now, and it is a shame. But I think he yes, in a small way, isn't head and shoulders above the rest. Yeah, so he will be my guy. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mahlatse. Yeah, Nami, I think Ribeiro, you know, he has been one of the best. Yeah, Steve, please, if you have any question for Mahlatse.
Actually, you know, I've got the. I don't know if I'm asking the right person, but I hope you can assist me. How do the soccer fraternity deal with one arrogance of soccer players, which leads to well, how do they put it? A bad behavior. Because for me, I think that is what is most prominent in the soccer teams, because even the selling issue, I think mostly is something mental for me. If that's my opinion. I don't know what's happening. I've heard rumors about selling and what. I've actually met the young man, but how do soccer teams, how do soccer people deal with a young man coming from Bloemfontein, unknown, no one knows him, then he wears either Kaizer Chiefs jersey or a Sundowns jersey or a Paris jersey. Then in 3 months' time, the guy changes, you know, and it's not because of, it's not only financial, but mental, because now this guy is a superstar. Everywhere he goes, people want to hug him. People want to take photos. People want women to throw themselves against them. That's the first question. Second question, I asked this so many times and I got different answers. Alcoholism in soccer. The one answer I got the other day was I think it was a general answer to say, hey, if you want to cool up a soccer player, then maga are famous. What do you expect? But I'm asking this in a context where alcohol seems to be the general trend in soccer players. And with you people who are closer, Mahlatse Mphahlele, you are closer to these people than us, because we go to the stadium, we leave, and then that's it. You are given privy to go and sit with them and listen. So why is it that so many players, because after football, most of these players, they become non-starters. You know what I mean? Then they go to podcasts and talk about badly about Pirates and Chiefs and so forth, which is fine. But why is it that there's this bad boy behavior where there's now you hear that no, Tito is not behaving properly. But if you look, this person a year ago was a nobody. Now a year later, now he's selling, he's scoring goals and so I just want to know from you, what happens? Is it a mental issue? Should the teams, the soccer, these big brands invest more in counselors or psychologists or mental institutions to try and show them? Because even our young players now, these young 19, 20, I'm so scared for those boys, because the trend in soccer, in the soccer land, is that a player now, once you see them buying a Polo, you must know the next car is a BMW, and then the next car is the X something, X6, X7, and it goes up to now. I was so shocked to see that the Wokomoko has bought a G-Wagon. I was like, oh my God. I'm so, if I look at his collection of cars, this guy's collection is 15 million rand. So it means this guy must work for 30 years in order for him to, and at the same salary. But it's not going to happen. You understand? So now who's guiding this young man to say, hey, you can't buy a car for 5 million rand. I'm sure even Motsipo doesn't drive a car for 5 million. I don't know what car he drives.
Yeah, or even a house. I mean, I don't understand why a footballer who can only work for 6 years is going to buy a house for 5 million.
You understand? So now, who is the, when I heard up stories about Pito, when they said Pito chases you away if you buy expensive car, I think that was a good thing at the time for these soccer players. But now how can we invest in, because my son is playing soccer, guys. So if he can maybe, God willing, get a contract, I'm scared even for him, because now if you're gonna go to a parking lot of Mamelodi Sundowns or Orlando Pirates, there is like a showroom. It's like a investment cars. But the guy signed a 3-year contract, but the installment is for 7 years. So who can advise these boys, and who can make a plan to say we can protect the mind? Because yes, when you come from poverty and you go into a space, next, now all of a sudden there's 300,000 in your account. The mind is over. The mind is gonna change immediately. And you go walking around in malls, people are gonna take photos and sign autographs, and women, they'll take you to nightclubs and all of this. So how do we manage that space of soccer players? Because that's the most important part. I'm telling you, when I saw Mphala and Mokoena buying Vianos, the latest models, I was like, oh my God, who can talk to these young men and say, guys, and even the clothes they wear. I mean, you wear a shoe for 10,000, a t-shirt for 9,000, and I'm like, oh, what's happening? Why can't you just wear your Puma and your Adidas and just walk around? It's fine. So that's my question, bro.
Yeah.
And I hope you because me, I'm actually scared for because the lifestyle, bro, it's compared to the number of years that they're supposed to live. And the salespeople, they don't care because they need their commission, and then life goes on. And the banks also, they don't know. They just check affordability, credit score, and then they pay. So
Yeah. I think the first question, Kunji, the first question was about
mental state, arrogance.
The mental. I think, fame is a very tricky thing to navigate around. And obviously people are raised differently to deal with these things different. If you are a young person and suddenly you have got adulation and everybody's singing your praise, and that can be very, very, very difficult to manage. It becomes even a problem where there's fame and a little bit of fortune. When you are famous and you are earning a little bit of more money, things tend to go wrong, and if they go wrong very, very badly. We have seen that. In my other life, I worked very closely with these footballers, and I've seen it unfolding in front of my eyes. I remember I was sitting in a hotel room with Jeffrey Ntuka when he was playing in Belgium. May his soul rest in peace. Trying to talk to him to stop doing the stuff that he's doing, and he was the man about town. He had a bit of euros with him, and things were happening. So, and also a person at that stage, sometimes, especially young, naive people, they don't get to see. It's like when you've got a child, they are straying away. You are trying to bring them back, but they feel like the more you try to bring them back, that's the more they are moving away from you. It's a very, very difficult thing to do. Obviously, I'm not a psychologist, but from the little bit that I know, fame is very, very difficult. I mean, I vividly remember the interactions I used to have with Larato Chabangu when he was at Sundowns. People like that. I mean, I know, like, for example, a person like Old John personally. The stuff that we used to sort of talk about, and but they go here and they go through out of here. So when people are at that state, it becomes very difficult, but not for everyone. I mean, I've seen people like Michael Manzini and Sapres Moriri who have set themselves up very, very nicely, because I think they are wired differently. They knew what they wanted. They went out there and they got it, and then they retired comfortably. You can see people like Mphahlele Iniesta. Those are the good examples of guys who were famous and had money, and those things didn't go to their heads. So it's very, very tricky. I mean, some of these boys will talk to them, and then they become very, very, very rude when you try and talk to them, when you see them doing the wrong things. They become rude. They will tell you that who are you to tell them out? They must spend their own money. In a way, they are right, but at the same time, they are wrong, because if you are a startup, you are earning 120,000 a month, and half of it goes just to things that are really not worth the trouble, then that's not good enough. Most of these guys, as probably all of us here on this meeting, we don't come from wealthy families. I'm sure all of us here have got a story of having to help out a sister or a brother or a relative or what. Those things were heavily on these guys. I was watching the Pirates documentary with evidence, I mean, Mosel, where he spoke about that he just lost it because his phone didn't stop ringing. People, extended family, everybody was demanding from him. And the only escape that he had was to go and drink, because he just couldn't deal with this thing. Sometimes I think maybe the mistake would be not finding professional help. But those things happen. I mean, even us in our personal lives, I'm sure we will have our own stories to tell from, I don't want to say pressure, but from the responsibilities that we have to siblings and families and all that kind of thing. I guess for us here, it's just that we don't have to go and play in front of 90,000 people every Saturday. So maybe we can be able to deal with the pressure a little bit differently. These boys, these problems, they take them onto the pitch, they can't perform on the pitch, and there's even more pressure. Me, I can go and cry in the office alone there and gather myself back and go back to the desk and continue working. So those are human interest issues which needs professionals, maybe psychologists and sociologists and whatever, to help these guys. But obviously the players also themselves need to go and find help. Because then if you don't want to find help, you just fall deeper and deeper and deeper into a hole, and that's a shame. That's why sometimes maybe we're harsh also as fans and as journalists when we criticize players who are not performing, because we don't know what these people are going through. People go through a lot, and it's tough. The country as it is now, the country generally is not doing well. There's no one who is doing well. We're all struggling in our own ways, and there are challenges out there. But it's not an excuse for people to go and drink every day and don't go to work and misbehave, and you still need to find strength somewhere, somehow, to wake up in the morning and take the kids to school and go to work. Otherwise, then you will have a problem. But I agree with you, Brati. Things can go wrong very, very well. There are some guys who really manage things okay, and they came out on our side very well. It's just one of those things that happens, and it happens now. I mean, we still hear stories of players arriving to training drunk in 2025 or 2026, whatever the case may be. It's just not. I mean, with all the stuff that we hear every day from our players, young people still do it, and it's a problem. I mean, I'm told that these kids as DDC are the most arrogant pricks you can ever find in the whole world, because they've been in a flight once to Cape Town to play a football match. They've been on TV once, and then tomorrow they've got big earrings, they've got big hairstyles. They don't greet people at the club, and that kind of it happens. And I can tell you, they get told what is right and what is wrong. But if an individual is not willing to listen, you are never going to do anything. So that's the one part of it. Alcohol. It has always been a problem. It continues to be a problem. Most of footballers or most of sports, men and women, do abuse alcohol to a large extent. As we're sitting here now, there was a story. Excuse me, on Saturday, that Kagiso Rabada was caught with the recreational drugs. Those things are there. Even somebody like KG who operates at that level. As to why he did it, we don't know, but our guys do it, and it's a problem. At Sundowns, Coach Peter used to introduce a breathalyzer because he just couldn't take it anymore. It was too much. But obviously, clubs are now they can be able to hide it so that it doesn't spill over to the journalists and also to the fans. Because at some stage, you have got to protect the players. As I said earlier on, that these guys go through quite a lot. In terms of advice, they do get advices. The clubs get financial advisors. They get all these sorts of people. Some have got good managers and agents who advises. Some are okay. I mean, I look at Lucas now. Lucas stopped playing, I don't know how many years ago, but the guy was well looked up in such a way that he doesn't need to work. He's very much comfortable. Lives in a very, very beautiful home. He's got people around him who are looking after his stuff. And to this day, Lucas commands more corporate support than even the players that are playing now. He's on each and every single billboard that you can think of. And that's money. You see, so yeah, those are the things that are out there. This thing is very, very complicated. It differs from player to player, from club to club, situation to situation. But generally, as you had said, Prati, these guys tend to misbehave also sometimes, and that's where things go wrong. But I've seen it. Fame it can be a big problem, especially to young people. Young players don't know how to handle fame. There was this story of this athlete, Luvo Manyonga. The guy was a champion not so long ago at the Olympics or something like that.
Yeah.
Now he's starting from scratch because he came back here. He was arrogant. He was big-headed. He lost everything. And on top of that, he got a ban for like 2-3 years. He couldn't do anything. So those are the tough things that these guys need to navigate around. But if you want to be there, those are the potholes that you need to navigate around. That's why guys like Borele and these younger players really need good people around them, because if they are not well looked after, unfortunately, things can go wrong, and if they go wrong, they really, really go wrong. I hope for their sake that, especially Rele is a special talent, and he needs to be looked after very well, both from the club, the management team, his family, to a large extent, maybe even his community. He can't be allowed to be roaming around the streets at night and doing wrong things there, not sleeping and stuff. He's a professional now, and he must behave like a professional. I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying at that level, he needs to perform very, very well. Lastly, on this point, I once had a chat with, I don't know if you remember him, Shettle Siam, the guy who used to be the CEO of the PSL. When old John left Tottenham, he went to play for that guy's club in Norway. That guy said to me, he stayed at John stayed at that guy's house because they tried to control him. And he said the things that this guy did, at some stage, I didn't think that he was a normal human. Just not finding a way to do the right thing. Oh, John could have been a legend of Tottenham Hotspur if he stayed in a state in Europe, but we all know what happened. It's a shame. I think I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't think a player as good as a defender as good as old John is born in this country. That guy was a natural pure talent. I've had the pleasure of seeing him at training. I've never seen anything like that. Once in a generation talent. But if you don't have the right attitude, talent alone, unfortunately, is not good enough. And Larato Chabongi is another guy. Some of these players who play now don't come in anywhere near Larato, even when he was not fully focused and fully fit. Larato still played top football when he had a barbarous. And I used to say to him, if you don't have a babalazi, you are fully fit.
Yeah.
You know what you can do. And geniuses, sometimes they don't know how good they are, And I mean, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. Unfortunately, I've never seen a player who can, after Gifty Remy, who can shoot with left and right in equal precision as Lerato Shaw. None of these players who are playing now come anywhere near that. Even Tamba at his best, he doesn't come anywhere near that. Or Gifty Remy or those players. They were special. They were special. I see Neo doesn't agree with me, but
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
so yeah, it's a competition of a whole lot of things. It's tough. It's tough. I mean, Brazil, I don't know if you win the lotto. I don't know. Those mangas. When you call me, you're gonna say, "Who's this?"
Yeah,
I'll
quite check.
Yeah.
Now you look at the phone and say, "Excuse me, who's this?" That's just what life is. People, when they've got some sort of status and power and money, and somehow they behave differently. And I'm not saying all, but generally, experience has showed us that people behave differently when they've got control, especially with money and fame and all those kinds of things. So footballers are no, or sports stars are no different. They are very, very arrogant. Most of them are very, very arrogant. A footballer can just walk past you here knowing, don't greet you, doesn't care. But you will be the first person you'll be running to when the contract is finished.
Yes.
That's how stupid they can be sometimes. But anyway, it is what it is.
Exactly. No.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mr. Mphahlele. Thank you for the information.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've worked with footballers a long way, and I know that.
I can see.
There's a particular story about George Levese, but I mean not George Levese, Banda, the real Levese. Yeah, it's quite a sad story, but yeah.
No, I must invite you at my house so you can troll me and tell me this story, Mr. Mphahlele.
Yeah, I've got a lot of stories. I'm sure I already put one of these.
Yeah.
Beautiful. On a serious note, I mean, this is very important, Mahlatse and gents. The teams, they protect these boys, and as you know, most of the time supporters blame Kaizer Chiefs, Pirates, Sundowns, for benching these boys, or for putting them on the stands and all that, without knowing as supporters, these boys are misbehaving, and the teams will never go to the press and say, guys, we've caught so and so, with a lot of girls or whatever, because they know they are going to mess up with their CVs, because their CVs is their image. Because if they can come and say Saleng is doing this, I mean the next team would never want to sign him. But lastly, to Neo, do you have a question for our guest?
Yeah. Okay. While I give Mahlatse a chance to breathe after the mouthful of knowledge shared, maybe I can tap into Iniesta quickly. After the whole question that Madume had put up to the guys about the play of the season, it's very interesting that I'd like to just tap into your mind just very briefly about specifically when it comes to Kaizer Chiefs. There was a stat that was given as of the 2nd of May 2025, whereby our Opta Child had given us the top 5 teams for transfers created this season. And surprisingly, Kaizer Chiefs came out top with 294, then followed by Amazulu, I think it was 237, and then Orlando Pirates 236, Mamelodi Sundowns with 232. And I guess, I mean, obviously, those transfers created it tells a story. I mean, even if Sundowns is at number 4, but probably you'll find that the conversion of those transfers are greater, that by the time when they 3-0 up, they don't have to create as more compared to Kaizer Chiefs, where we've seen them chasing many games. So leading to the whole thing of, with Kaizer Chiefs creating a lot of chances, the conversation of Finston Mayela being a possible prospect for the team as a solution, as I think, I can't quote the source, but Gavin Hunt had mentioned that, you know, he's the kind of player who can get you 30 goals in the season. But I just wanted to tap into your mind in terms of seeing from the season, and if, let's say your international slots are filled up, what would be a good solution for Kaizer Chiefs in terms of getting that chances created conversion higher, which will obviously then give them a better chance going on the table? So yeah.
Yeah, thanks for a good question. Yeah, I did saw that it was around 2nd or 22 May of Javi on the start and everything. So Kaizer Chiefs were leading regarding the start and everything. I think, yes, when it comes to creating a lot of chances, I think Kaizer Chiefs did well, but they were not scoring those goals. So I believe Kaizer Chiefs, as you have said, they just need to go on in the market and get a lethal striker. We have mentioned Fiston Mayela, but I don't think Kaizer Chiefs will afford the guy. We know Pyramids will need a lot of money. As my senior said, that obviously the guy wants to play in the Champions League, and Kaizer Chiefs are still gonna play in the Confederation Cup. But definitely Kaizer Chiefs, they signed a quality scout from Mamelodi Sundowns, Terra. I just believe or think Chiefs need to support the guy when it comes to the market. I think obviously Chiefs, they just need to go to the countries like Uganda, Congo. Maybe they'll get a quality striker there, but not someone like Gonzalez. Remember, the guy from Colombia. I just believe they need to get a quality striker, maybe from Uganda, Congo, because they're gonna play Confederation Cup and it's tough there. But yes, they are creating a lot of chances, Kaizer Chiefs. And most of the chances, they're not coming from the middle part, if you can check from Kaizer Chiefs. The likes of Misimango played first 5 games of the season, obviously, and he was creating a lot of chances for Kaizer Chiefs. You can check the way Martin's playing. His back passes are more than his forward passes. So I think they also need to get a quality midfield to create more of the chances they created this season. Yes, they were leading the race around May, around April with those chances created. I believe they still need to sign quality striker and also quality midfield. I'm the fan of the guy from Stellenbosch, former Chiefs Galaxy man, Tato Kiva. Yeah, just number 12. I think one of the players Kaizer Chiefs, I believe they need to sign is a good midfielder. Normally, he can assist, he can do a lot of things in the middle park. Whenever the team is attacking, he's always there. Whenever the team is making losing the ball, he's always there. The kind of player who likes to play high pressing game. So I believe one of the players can help Kaizer Chiefs. And also, if the team can afford player like Mayela, I think there's a quality striker there at Chipa United, Kwabia, number 9 man. I think one of the strikers the Chiefs can sign. Yes, there were rumors that he's gonna go to the Zero bus, but I believe Chiefs need to sign. And also, they can also negotiate with Mamelodi Sundowns. There are a lot of quality strikers there at the Brazilians. You know, the relationship between Mamelodi Sundowns and Kaizer Chiefs. Those guys, even though they are rivals with this, but I believe Kaizer Chiefs can give Mamelodi Sundowns can give the Chiefs one of 2 players, even though they count as so-called old players to Chiefs. You can check the history, the likes of Mphahlele Castro, even Bila, they came as old players to Chiefs, but they performed very well. Even they played short time at Kaizer Chiefs. I believe Chiefs need to get someone like Kwabia from Chiba United, as I've said, also Tato Kiva in the middle park. And there's this guy also Nduli from Stellenbosch is playing in the middle park, just number 8. Is one of the players who can assist there at Kaizer Chiefs. Kaizer Chiefs, they just need to go in the market and sign good players. Even there at Polokwane City, I believe Coach Pitimo, I think, can give Chiefs at least one or two players that can help Kaizer Chiefs. And I also wanted to ask you now a question regarding the Nedbank Cup, because I like your analysis. I just wanted to know what are some of the areas of concern Chiefs need to correct if they want to win this tournament, Nedbank Cup final.
Ooh, that's a very good question.
Maybe before no answer the question, talking about the Chiefs issue. If you look at the players that usually move from Sundowns to Chiefs are guys who are out of contract, and I'm told they were offered Lodge now on loan and they refused because they don't want Chiefs. I mean, it doesn't happen. How can you, a big club, take a player from another big club on loan? It's an embarrassment for the other one who are getting. So they were offered Lodge, but they didn't want to take him alone. They wanted him outright, and Sundowns were not going. Sundowns want, under normal circumstances, would not sell a player to Chiefs, because then what are you doing? How do you strengthen the opposition? They won't do it. That's why there are some players from other clubs who looks like they are going to Chiefs, but Sundowns take them just to frustrate the whole process. Even if Sundowns doesn't necessarily need them. That's how they've done it before, and that's how you, from a moral perspective, you can argue for or against to say is it right or wrong, but they've got the buying power to do it. So that's the problem. And we will go back to the scouting also. I just hope that even if they don't have the capacity to go outside, but to really, really have people who sits there and watch players in the league to say, but if we can get this one and do this and tweak here and tweak there, he can fit into our system. So you need to find, like, now, for example, I was shocked when Sundowns signed Neo Maema. I used to watch Neo Maema at Celtic, but I didn't really make much of the guy. And when he came to Sundowns, I realized, okay, maybe we've got something here. A player like Lisiva Mku. I saw Lisiva Mku at I think was it Polokwane Marumo Gallants, and I didn't make much of this guy. I also didn't agree with them when they signed Krankekan, because I didn't think Krankekan were. But you that is about scouting. You really have to look close and analyze the data and follow a guy and check and watch matches and watch him in action, and then be convinced that this guy maybe at the moment is not where he's supposed to be, but he can come here and we can improve him. And that's the coaching. That's the one thing that this Pirates coach has done. Salem was just an average player when this Ribeiro came, but the guy improved this man. Mahupa was just a guy who was just running around. He didn't know what he was doing, but he was improved. But it's about coaching, A lot of all those other players that Pirates, they've been improved because of the coach spent enough time working on this guy. We were surprised when Mahupa was not playing for Pirates when this coach came. And privately, he told people that maybe, he's not quite ready. We're working on him. And they were correcting some of the wrong things. Because Mahupa was he had a very, very disadvantage. He was discovered late, and he went to Holocaust at Baroka, where, with due respect, but I don't think a lot of coaching was happening. So you delay the guy. And then he comes to Pirates, where he finds a little bit of coaching, and then, you have to make corrections. And, at this level, really, you don't have to spend too much time on the professional part to make corrections. So those are the things that they need to happen there in the club. Because Sundowns are never going to buy from, Chiefs are never going to buy from Pirates, are never going to buy from Sundowns. And everywhere else, if you knock, 20 million. If you go to Stellenbosch, 20 million. If you go to SuperSport, 20 million. So what are they going to do? You really need to look very, very cleverly and also take advantage of these young players from DDC. Surely there's one or two of the players that can come to the first team and they'll help. Because also I've always had questions about DDC. What is the point of DDC if a significant majority of those players are not good enough to play for the first team? Then what are we doing with this thing? Because I watch on Saturday mornings, most of the players, they are really not good. It's just maybe of ticking a box off that you have got DDC team. But why are not most of the DDC players not playing in the PSL? And I'm very much interested to see what Chiefs are going to do with those young boys going to next season. Over to you, Mr. Nel.
Thank you very much. That's one.
Oh, no, that's good. Okay, just a quick one. So with regards to Nedbank Cup final, in terms of my analysis, terms of what Chiefs need to improve, especially from this game, because this game was at least a nice, we call it a honeypot, where you get to see what ideas that the teams are trying to emulate to see if it could work going into the final. And seeing Chiefs, how they set up, it looked like they were playing more of like Serena was like more of a false nine, cutting in wide with what's his name, coming from the wide, coming into play as a 10 and a 9. So I liked that rotation. And I wish, and I've seen a lot of teams do it. I think even you like to be Real Madrid, you see it sometimes as well, where you've got your Mbappe, Rodrigo, and Vinicius. They can sometimes switch around. I just wish I saw something like that happening on the left flank. And that's where I think I'm worried about Bulemudi in terms of coming into this game. Should he play the game, he needs to be more active, alive, confident in the ball, supporting not just the front end but also at the back end, because now if Cross is not available, Dove is not going to be the kind of person who's going to push up so high up. So again, that's that translation. I like what they did in the midfield. It'll be interesting to see if Tele comes in and the words of Mahlatse, if Mdu is dropped, then if they're going to play like a solid 6 with the 2 double-8s, that'll be very interesting to see how then they can then translate that going inward, because it worked. I won't lie. I saw it working for at least the first 15 minutes of the game. Before then, the one thing that I will emphasize that these players should not be doing, especially in a cup final, leave the Hollywood pass. Leave the Hollywood pass. Even if you're 2-0 up, leave the Hollywood pass. Play the simple game, because that's how I see Kaizer Chiefs coming into, could get that edge over Orlando Pirates, because they had that confidence when they were playing the simple game before they started to complicate it. But yeah, nonetheless, that's just my view. I hope it shed light. And I don't know if I'm just able to just ask a 2-minute question.
Okay.
It could be like a 2-minute answer.
No problem.
Be directed to you, Mahlatse, and also to you, Tulani. It's actually going to come outside of just our spectrum of football, but with the rise of digital platforms, fan-generated content like what we are on right now, and social media breaking stories faster than our traditional outlets, how do you see the role of a PSL journalist evolving? And what do you think has been lost or gained in the shift? So I'm asking you, Mahlatse, as someone who I believe is a traditional from Times Live, and also you, Tulani, as someone who's breaking in from the digital platform. Yeah.
You go first.
Yeah, you can go first.
Or you can go.
Sorry?
You can go.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Neil, for that question. I believe, now that, we are sort of in the fourth industrial, revolution, as much as, the newspapers and all that, are no longer, as, as big as they used to be. You remember, our forefathers, make sure every Sunday, every day, they go and buy newspapers and all that. But now, today, we have sort of newspapers on our, in our hands every time. It's something that has been helping a lot of us, because you go to Google, you go everywhere, then just keep on checking. In the morning, you wake up, you are on the phone. Before you sleep, you are on the phone and all that. And I think these platforms are going to help us going forward. Look at, for instance, now we have got AI, where you can just ask it any question and it will answer you. But then all in all, you don't have to wait for the big broadcasters, to break news. As long as you have got your Twitter next to you, you have got YouTube's and all the platforms. It's going to be easy, for us as the nation, as people, to gather more information. Unfortunately, sometimes, you want to break the news, Gandhi is not this fake news and all that. Just today, I've seen, with this Nedbank Cup sales, community kid said, tickets are sold out, and I was like, hey, this is the chance for me, to write a story, and I wrote the story to say the tickets are sold out, only to find was no, they're not sold out, and then the system crashed. But then we just need to check first and check which, like, are we reporting with facts or what, so that we don't break the fake news and all that. But yeah, just to answer yourself, your question, I think it's a good thing, coming to this generation. I'm not sure what's going to happen, in our next, our kids' generation and all that, because of, I think we are moving very fast. Yeah. Thanks, Neo. Mahlatse, you can add your numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, I this is the part where I'm gonna give away my age now. because when I started this thing in the early 2000s, newspapers were king. My former sports editor used to say, there's no better smell in the morning like the combination of the smell of coffee and a newspaper.
Yeah.
When you smell that thing, your day has started. And that thing, I can tell you now. I mean, I don't know when was the last time I had a paper in my hand. I get Sunday Times on my phone. I get City Press now. It's gone full digital. There's no paper anymore. Sunday World. Those are pretty much the last remaining. Sowetan, the last remaining 4 strong papers that are out there. And the grim reality is that at the rate things are going, they are not going to be there for long, especially the daily papers. I think the Sunday papers will still have, especially the Sunday Times now, that they are the only strong remaining one, apart from the Africans one that I don't read. The Sunday Times, if it's at the rate that they are managing it, I work there, so I sort of know the environment. I think there is a concerted effort by the leadership to preserve it. The same thing they are doing with the Sowetan because of legacy issues and all those kinds of things. It's from the same stable which I work for. Strong sort of efforts have been made to make it relevant. They've just redesigned it now, repackaged it again. It's more of a tabloid kind of size, no longer the way it was before. They are trying to innovate to make it relevant. And so far so good, but with the advancements of technology, obviously we are where we are now. When I started working, I didn't even have a cell phone. I always tell these younger ones, Iniesta, that when I was covering the under-20s, they used to play at Caledonian or Wheatbank or what is that kind of township next to Soweto, El Dorado Park. So I would go to a match. And then at the Patrol News back in the days, they had these ladies who will sit on the phones to take dictates. So I'll run to a ticket box and call, and then they call me back. And I dictate the story. No Wi-Fi and all that stuff. So that's how far back we've come with these things. So yeah, the world has changed. It's good that we have all these kinds of stuff. It's called content these days. I've been also in the space of content generation now for just before COVID. With my other platform on Prime Sports and stuff like that. I've been sort of just trying to make sure that the train does not leave me to do things new, and I'm enjoying it. It's a new way of doing things. My only worry is that there's too much of these things, and when you have got a lot, you are also going to find a lot of nonsense, So there's a lot of which are not good. People are just doing it. Quick fashion, when people are just doing it for the sake of doing it. There's danger there. But there are some guys who are really, their heart is in the right place. They are doing it for the right reasons. And that's why I can come here, because I know Tulani has been pushing, and he's there now. There are certain platforms which I wouldn't been waste my time on going on, because I just don't. And I'm not saying this because I'm arrogant or disrespectful, but with my little bit of experience, they just don't offer much. I was listening to an interview the other day, and the guy was interviewing Tuso Pala, and Tuso Pala is a very conversant guy. And, the guy was interviewing was so bad that even when Tuso was throwing things at him, he just kept on missing these things. So that's very, very bad, because our profession is generally, obviously, people need to have qualifications and all those kinds of things, but there are people who do our work, who have gained experience over years, even if they don't have the necessary qualifications. It's a skill that you learn as you go about. I mean, the other day I was going through CVs of kids who are joining our cadet or our cadet system there at school. I looked at those CVs and then they put me to shame. because of the qualifications these young people have. Some have got honors or degrees and all these kinds of things. Like highly qualified stuff. But they are raw. You still have to carry them by hand and show them the ropes and these things. And some they just happen to have the right qualifications, but they can't write well. They can't do television. They can't do radio. So it's a new way of doing things. Podcasting is there. These things that you are doing there, they are there now. You just have to pick your poison and run with it. As I said, there's a lot of them that are not good, to be honest. And I've also made a prediction that I think over the next 2-3 years, probably half the podcasts that are there now will not be there. People who are doing it for cloud, they'll get tired and then they'll drop by the wayside. But the guys who are in it for it will remain and they'll continue creating content. And that's where it is. Some of the people so with that McG incident, now government is trying to talking about regulating us. I don't know how that is going to go, but we'll see how it goes. I don't think it's something that will pass legal muster, but we'll have to wait and see about that one. Because then monitoring compliance is going to be a hell of a job. Knowing how inept our government is, I mean, if they cannot provide the sheets at the hospital, how are they going to be able to manage things like this? So our government is just we can't do basic things. Complicated stuff like this is something which they just don't have capacity that they can do it. So yeah, it's a new way of doing things. Personally, I'm enjoying it. I mean, I've seen TikTok now. TikTok has got massive celebrities nowadays. There are people who live in their own world of TikTok and they are big there on TikTok.
Yeah.
There are people who are massive on Facebook. There are people who are massive on this podcasting world. I was saying to someone that my TV here at home, I hardly watch TV on TV, if you understand what I mean. I'm always catching up on stuff on YouTube and on catch up, and if I didn't see something. If Mphahlele had a press conference during the day, the first thing I do is to go on my phone, on my TV, and watch on YouTube. I hardly watch TV as in TV, So that's how it is, and it's exciting times. But also these things have got their own dangers, as Tulani is talking about fake news and all those kinds of things. So it's very tricky. The other danger is that anyone who has a cell phone thinks they can be a journalist, which is a problem. That's why sometimes we are fed things which were not supposed to be fed. But on a good day, even a person with a cell phone who's not a journalist can give you something that can convict a person in a court of law because of footage that they've taken by a cell phone. So it's a very tricky time that we are living in, but let's use it for good, to do good things, not to do wrong things, and we will see how it is, So yeah, I'm enjoying it, and I'm quite happy that we are where we are now. I also, in my small way, I do have my own YouTube things that I do, stuff that I do there. I think Maupye will be interested to find out. I've interviewed Mphahlele in my last interview. You can go and check there. He's really very, very disappointed at the stage of where the club is. Is that Neo? He's very, very disappointed at the stage where the team is right now, as well as the people who brought a lot of success to the club. So yeah, we in that space now. I'm pretty much a digital journalist now, and that's what I do. And yeah, it's interesting times. It's really, really interesting times. It's good. 10 years ago, we would not be doing this. We'll have to meet somewhere. and have caucus.
Exactly.
like we were student politicians back in the day,
Yeah.
But it's very, very nice. Yeah, it's very, very good. Some guys have done very well. I mean, Tulani is taking baby steps into this thing. So I'm a friends with, they are doing very well. There's quite a lot of people out there who are doing very well. And I always want to say that we don't give credit to those Sundowns guys enough, the Sundowns fan vlogs, because they were pretty much the pioneers of this thing. They were, I'm under correction, but I think they were the first people to do this thing, and we need to give credit when it's true.
Yeah.
I also started taking keen interest from seeing them at Coach Peter's press conferences. And I said, okay, there's something here. I started shooting videos also. And then we're here, So, yeah, it's very, very interesting. Yeah, it's very, very interesting, definitely.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. I'd like to take this opportunity and thank all of you, for making sure that, you sacrifice. There's something that is very important. I always say, which, you can buy someone a gift, you can buy them whatever, but then, giving them your time, something that you never regain. So I'd like to take this opportunity, gents, to thank you for, availing yourself. I know you were supposed to be sleeping by now, but then at least you made your time, you made sure it looks like you are with us here. And I'd like to thank you so much, Mahlatse. I really, thank you so much, for making sure that, you visit us here. I know the guys, they try to grind you, but you were ungrindable.
No, they were nice.
Yeah.
They didn't ask the questions that the journalists were asking Navi there.
Yeah.
Tough questions.
That's great.
Are you still the right man for the job?
Yeah. Where can the viewers catch you? I know you are also having your own platform. Where can they catch you?
Yeah, on almost everything is just Mahlatse on Twitter, on TikTok, on Insta, and on Facebook. Yeah, and then on YouTube is Prime Sports with Mahlatse. I also have got a show on Times Live and Sowetan Live, the Arena Sports Show. I also do a podcast with Velile on African football, Africa Football Connect.
Yeah.
So yeah, we tend to be busy.
Very busy. Thank you so much. Iniesta, where can our viewers catch you?
On Facebook, it's Ezekiel Iniesta, and then on Instagram, Iniesta08, TikTok, Iniesta08, Twitter, Iniesta08.
Thank you so much for featuring.
And I'm still not convinced with this Iniesta. I want to see him play. I'm not sure. I want to see the clips.
Very much. No, thank you so much to our viewers at home who haven't
Thank you.
subscribed. Just click the subscribe button and help us grow our faith. Thank you so much for making sure that you support us. We also have our website www.sharpest.com. If you want breaking news, just visit our website. Thank you so much, Faith.
Sharp.